So let's talk about this first set here. Motrell, an upcoming YouTube streamer, wants to start his podcast channel featuring himself in every episode. His production team sat down to plan the schedule of a podcast video production. They created the following Gantt chart, which gives the information regarding the 10 tasks which are required in order to create, edit, shoot, and publish one episode of the podcast. Assume that each episode of the podcast will take the same number of 15 days as calculated by the team and given in the chart below, irrespective of the type of podcast. So let's see this. So here I see this screen on which it says that days are mentioned in the topmost row and tasks are mentioned on the column. Blog research, outline, first draft, so on and so forth. So a blog research would actually take 2 days. A blog outline will take only 1 day. A first draft is going to take a total of 4 days. Draft editing 1 day, and then final draft will take 2 days, and that ways for others also it is given to us. Okay, what next? Some tasks can happen concurrently even if any other task is started. So concurrent means they can work together. While some tasks cannot be started until their preceding task is completed. The following table gives the information regarding all the 10 tasks. So basically, if you want to do blog research, there is no preceding tasks for it. That means there is no task which you have to do before you start with blog research. But if you want to do blog outline, so blog research must have been completed before we started. This is what we mean by preceding task. And that means for first draft, you do not need anything to do beforehand. But for draft editing, you need to do blog outline before. For final draft, you need to complete these three before. And that means for others also, it is mentioned. Okay. So first of all, we know about the number of days that each task is going to take. And secondly, what are the preceding tasks for them? These two things are given to us. Now let's start solving the questions. So there are 5 questions on that. So these are the 5 questions. I am starting with the first one. What is the first one? What is the minimum number of days in which the production team can complete one podcast episode, given that there are enough people available to work simultaneously? So I just go to this page and I'll have to, of course, probably hide myself because you would not be able to see the data now. Let's start doing it. So here is the table giving you the number of preceding tasks along with the number of tasks and the time taken by them. Question is asking minimum number of days required for the production team that can complete one podcast, given that there are enough people available to work simultaneously. Now, when I talk about blog research here, it does not need anything before that. So therefore, I can start it right from the day one. I mean, at the beginning of day one. Is there any such task as well? Yes, there is the first draft. It also does not require any kind of preceding task. So can I say I can start my first draft from here? I can take it a day before. Similarly, when I talk about scripting, scripting also can go a day before. So it can also start from here. That is, blog research can start from day one along with first draft along with scripting. What next? Blog outline. It needs blog research before that. So because blog research starts from day one. So blog outline would definitely be completed on day 3 only. Then this is completed. Then I talk about draft editing. Draft editing will start only after the blog outline. So draft editing, it also can start from here then, because you need blog outline before this, and blog outline completes at the end of day 3. So we can start it from day 4 and it would be completed in a day. Just a day later, it will be completed. But when I talk about final draft requires first draft, draft editing, and scripting. Now the point is, if scripting goes a day behind, can I say scripting can complete in 3 days? First draft goes a day behind, so first draft can be completed in 4 days. And when I'm talking about draft editing, can I say draft editing also gets completed in 4 days? The reason is, when you take it a day behind, it can actually start at the end of day 3, that is from here, and it can be completed by the end of day 4. So by the end of day 4, they all would be completed, and this final draft actually can start at the end of day 4 or the beginning of day 5. So you can also take it a day back. So this would also be completed then. What next? Video shooting. It requires blog outline, which is completed on day 3, and scripting, which is completed on day 3. So basically video shooting can start a day behind, that is from day 3. Of course, then it would be completed on this day, that is day 11. It will be completed on day 11, right? Video editing. Video editing is basically requiring final draft before that. We know that final draft can be completed on day 6 because it started from the end of day 4. So it will be completed on day 6. So that means video editing can start on day 6. If it can start on day 6 and it takes a total of 6 days, so it can be completed a day before, that is at the end of 12 days. Here video editing can be completed. Similarly, music edition, which takes only 4 days, it can be completed way before that. And final video, it requires video shooting, that will be completed on day 11. Video editing, that will be completed on day 12. Music edition, that will be completed before that. So basically you can start it on day 12 when video editing gets completed. So ultimately this last thing can be completed on day 14. So therefore the answer for this question will be 14, that I can complete my work on day 14. So 14 is the right answer for this question. I'm sorry it went a little ahead, but 14 is the correct answer for this particular question. I am assuming that you understood my first question, so I'll move on to the second one. How many tasks are necessary to be completed before the video shooting begins? So how many tasks are necessary to be completed? So before the video shooting, we need blog outline, we need scripting, right? So we need scripting, we need blog outline. And before scripting, nothing is needed. But before blog outline, we need blog research. So this also has to be completed. And before blog research, we do not need anything. So before we start video shooting, we need blog research, blog outline, and scripting. These 3 tasks to be completed. So my answer for this question is option D, that is equal to 3. So once again, I am assuming that you have understood this solution as well. Let's move on to question number 3 now. Only one task can be performed in a day. Then in how many days will the production of one podcast be completed? The task has to be completed at the earliest. I would say it's as simple as this. If in a day only one task can be completed, right? So, and every task has to be completed. So blog research is going to take 2 days. Blog outline will take 1 day. Final first draft will take 4 days. Draft editing will take 1 day. Final draft will take 2 days. Scripting takes 3. Video shooting takes 8. Video editing takes 6. Music edition takes 4. And final video takes 2. That will be the total number of days taken. So 2 plus 1, 3 plus 4, 7 plus 1, 8 plus 2, 10 plus 3, 13 plus 8, 21 plus 6, 27 plus 4, 31 plus 2, 33 is the number of days taken to complete the work. So my answer for this question should be option B, because this time it is not important which is done before, which is done after, because ultimately that order can be decided. I mean, we can start some tasks after some certain tasks have been completed, but when I'm doing these tasks one by one, of course I can start a task with completing all the requirements for that what are the preceding tasks, whether they have been completed or not. So here comes question number 4. If only Mamba knows how to work on first draft, draft editing, final draft, and scripting, then at least how many days will one episode of a podcast take to complete? Now let's talk about Mamba first of all. Mamba is basically working on these 4 things only, that is first draft, draft editing, final draft, and scripting. Out of these 4, the very first day he can start working on either first draft or scripting because they do not have any preceding task, right? And scripting will take 3 days, first draft will take 4 days. So I'm just starting with scripting. Let us say Mamba works on scripting for the first 3 days. And then he works on, let's say, first draft for the next 4 days. So next 4 days he works on the first draft. After that, draft editing requires blog outline. So can he start working on draft editing after that? Yes, because blog outline just requires blog research. So blog research can be completed in the first 2 days. In the next 1 day, blog outline can be completed. So if Mamba has to start with draft editing after 7 days, yes, he can start with that. And that draft editing will take just 1 day. So that draft editing will take just 1 day. So he can complete this work by this date. And finally, final draft need all these 3 things. So all 3 have been completed. So the last 2 days can be taken by the final draft. So ultimately I see it takes a total of 10 days, 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2. It takes a total of 10 days so that Mama's job is complete. He has completed all this work. What about the other tasks? And all these tasks have been completed. Video shooting requires blog outline and scripting. They both have been completed at the end of day 3. So therefore, in the next 8 days, we can do video shooting, which will complete on day 11. But this was completed on day 10, right? So when I talk about video editing, it actually starts from here, and video editing is going to take only 6 days. So video editing can be completed in another 6 days. It will be completed at the end of day 16. At the same time, we can also start on music edition because these can be done by two different people. Music edition will take 4 days and will be completed at the end of day 14. So when I have to work on the final video, for the final video, I need these three things to be completed. They all have been completed by maximum day 16. So at the end of this day, I can start working on the final video, which will take another 2 days, and therefore 16 plus 2, 18 is the number of days in which the job would be completed. So my answer for this question is 18. And lastly, we come to question number 5 now. How many tasks or tasks require exactly 4 predecessor tasks to get over, and only then the work with the said task can start? Let's talk about it. For a blog research, we need none, so it's not my answer. For blog outline, we need only one, that is blog research, not my answer. For first draft, we need none. For scripting, we need none. For draft editing, we need blog outline. For blog outline, we need blog research. So basically, it needs two, not my answer. For final draft, we need first draft, draft editing, scripting. And for them, we need blog outline. For blog outline, we need blog research. So ultimately, it needs 5. Question is asking for exactly 4. This also is not my answer. Video shooting, it requires blog outline, which automatically means blog research, and scripting as well, for which there is none. So ultimately, only 3. This also is not my answer. Video editing needs final draft, which is already started after 5. That means a total of 6, not my answer. Total of 6, not my answer. And finally, it needs these two along with the final draft as well. So that also cannot be the answer. So there is no task which requires exactly 4 predecessor tasks. So therefore, the answer for this last question is option A, that is 0.